Well, I think the autopen is one of the great scandals of our time. The autopen was our president, or to put it a different way, whoever operated the autopen was our president.
There we have President Trump calling out his predecessor, Joe Biden, amid new revelations in this autopen investigation. This now, as a report from Axios, says that Biden officials raised concerns. With how he issued pardons and used the autopen. House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer leading that investigation. And sir, good morning to you. Thank you for coming back. Let's go ahead and dig into it. Here we go, Axios yet again. There was a mad dash to find groups of people that he could then pardon, and then they largely did not run it by the Department of Justice to vet them, end quote. All right, where are you now, simply stated in your inquiry?
Well, we've been bringing in staffers in the Biden administration, key staffers. We started at the bottom. We've been working our way up to the chiefs of staff, trying to determine the process for how President Biden's administration used the autopen. One thing I can say with confidence right now is that the testimony we've received versus what the Axios story and the other emails that have surfaced in the last 2 weeks have said are completely inconsistent with each other. And I think what's safe to say is, based also on Joe Biden's interview with the New York Times, is he wasn't vetting those. And I don't think it's a stretch to say that Joe Biden wasn't aware of the majority of pardons that were being signed with the autopen. I don't think Joe Biden was aware of what was going on with many of the executive orders. So what we have here now with the evidence that's emerged, in addition to our transcribed interviews and depositions, is the fact that even Biden's own administration said, wait a minute, you can't do all these legal documents with an autopen.
Who said secondly, that? Hang on one sec. Who said that?
The Merrick Garland, high-ranking official in the Garland Department of Justice, was concerned about the excessive use of the autopen on legal documents.
So you're saying today, for the purposes of this interview now, that there were people within the Biden administration, the Biden White House, or was it the Justice Department, who disagreed with the autopen and the pardons that were coming down? What have you learned about that?
It was the Justice Department that disagreed with the excessive use of the autopen on legal documents. It was the Justice Department that emailed the White House asking, did the president even know who was pardoned using the autopen? So you take that, and you go with President Biden's one interview he's given post-presidency with the New York Times, and they asked him about the pardon process, and he said he delegated that out. Well, that's not how the pardon process works. Only one person in the world has the ability to pardon, and that's the President of the United States.
Okay, so let me go ahead. I don't mean to interrupt you here. I'm just trying to move it along in terms of time here. On screen, guys, go for it. 4,245 granted clemency. That's a lot, and 95% of those occurred in the final 3.5 months of his presidency. Sir, if I could, you put a post on X on Saturday. I'm just going to quote you. You said, another day, another revelation showing Joe Biden wasn't one to call in the shots. There must be accountability. Knowing that this is all past us, where is the accountability? How would that come?
Well, I think for one thing, you can question whether or not these pardons and executive orders that were signed in the last 3.5 months, when the president was clearly checked out of office, and there's more and more evidence that shows he didn't know what was going on with the use of that autopen, I think you can question the validity and the legality of those pardons and executive orders, and that's huge. I mean, I think that it's not a stretch to say that those pardons and executive orders could be easily declared null and void in a court of law, and I think that our investigation will serve as evidence with that. You know, we've got a few more people to bring in. We're bringing in Jean-Pierre Friday. She obviously has a book that comes out that talks about a lot of things that were going on in the Biden White House. We wonder if the use of the autopen down the stretch is one of them. We're going to find out. But at the end of the day, what the staffers that we brought in and deposed, the way they said the autopen worked versus what the emails that are being surfaced say how the autopen has worked. Totally inconsistent.
Okay.
But one thing that we have learned is that Joe Biden wasn't the one that was directing the use of that autopen. And
All right, here we go.
concerning.
Karine Jean-Pierre is on Friday, September 12th. Thursday is going to be a big deal. September 11th. And September 18th is next Thursday. Jeff Zients is then former White House Chief of Staff. Thank you, sir, for coming on. We got 100 more questions, but we don't have enough time. But thank you. James Comer, thanks for coming on.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.